and welcome to Legal Affairs. My name is Diamond Liddy, and I'm the public defender for the 19th Judicial Circuit. We have a fabulous show today with Barbara Moody. And Barbara, before we talk about the very hot topic, actually, that we're going to talk about today, you are the CEO of Rite Life Services.
Yes.
Help me with this. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And we're going to get to Rite Life Services here in a minute. But anyway, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Barbara, let's talk about you first for a moment. We're going to be talking about addiction, what's going on in the community, the facility that you run for substance abuse, et cetera, and Rite Life Services, obviously. But tell us a little bit about you and how you got involved in this, where you've come from, how long you've been doing this. Talk to us for a minute about that.
Perfect. Thank you. So I'm always very happy to talk about myself. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
So.
Well, no, that's lawyers that are usually happy to talk about themselves.
Right. So I'm a former drug user. And I'm also a person that has mental illness. I have been incarcerated. I have lost my children to DCF. I have lived that life that the majority of people with addiction and mental health conditions go through. So right. I have that experience.
So you get it.
I get it.
Okay.
And so I've been,
How long ago was this, Barbara?
So that was 23 years ago.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Well, more than that, it was actually 28 years ago. That there were no more drug use or anything. So, the good thing is I have had a lot of experience with trauma, people dying from overdose, and, back then we just called the police and ran away. Now it's a whole different other story.
Sure.
Which people are still doing that are caught up in the disease of addiction. So what led me to get here is I took on a job working with individuals who are homeless.
Whoa. Let's back up just a minute.
Okay.
All of this happened with the addiction. You had your children taken away, et cetera. 28 years where was that? Here?
So in Florida, I didn't actually lose them to DCF. I actually gave them to family members. And so DCF was involved at some point, and I had to go through the whole legal system because my family didn't want to give my children back.
But you did get them back.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, there was a whole process in my early recovery of learning how to speak to individuals, without getting mad and angry and emotional. Sure. And so there was a whole process of learning for my own self to be in recovery and learn how to handle myself as a human being that can be heard. I could use my voice and be heard and trusted. So I think that my recovery process led me into learning how to pay my own bills, how to, actually get a job.
The things we all take for granted.
Correct.
And do yes,
100%. 100%.
Right.
So I was championing myself that, oh my gosh, I got a car, I got my driver's license back. That's normal for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, when we have those successes today, we really celebrate them. And so, going back to early recovery, it was a process. And
Sure.
It was also a process to gain trust and, to build new relationships because I really didn't trust a lot of people.
Well, how long did it take you to first question, did you ever relapse? Or once you were on the right track, you stayed on the right track?
So no. I originally stopped using drugs in 1995.
Okay.
And I did relapse for one day in 2000. Hence my anniversary is coming up April 1st of 2023.
Okay.
So hence the 23 years. So, it's not an expectation. I do know a lot of people who have stopped using drugs in many forms. People who used to shoot heroin, and they stopped using heroin and kicked themselves and went to church. Or some of them went to work and just never used drugs again.
And what did it for you?
What did it for me was somebody said to me that you don't ever have to use drugs again. you never have to feel the way that you feel. And I didn't understand what that meant because I had lived that life for my whole entire life.
Wow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that statement made you say, I'm not going to do this anymore?
Well, I said, it's a different way to live. Let's try it. I'll try anything once. I've always said I'll try anything once, and that I did.
And then you were, except for the one day, you've been on the right track ever since.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So what got you into helping the others with addiction?
So in my addiction in Miami, I would see people walking down the street in the rain. A lot of times children in strollers, and the moms didn't have any way to cover the children up. And for whatever reason inside of me said, go get umbrellas. So I did. I used to go, back then was Rite Aid in Miami.
Sure.
And I used to go into the Rite Aid and steal umbrellas and then give them out to people. So I did that. If you go in my car right now, I have 4 umbrellas because I give them out. Yep. So, I mean, there was something innate in there that said that I should be helping people. And so when I stopped using drugs, it was automatic for me to get into the substance use industry.
Gotcha.
So like any other person in early recovery, I try to find my way and found treatment, substance use treatment, and I could go become an employee. How exciting that was. So I took a night shift and I worked for a single family home builder during the day to where I could really make some money and pay my way through. I worked at Burger King for a little while. They accused me of stealing money, and all of those, dysfunctional qualities had left me, so I knew that I didn't steal the money, so I left there. But when I took these positions on, I did very, very well, and I rose up very, very quickly in my positions. So it wasn't uncommon for me to have, a higher paying position.
Right.
So I was able to do a lot of things.
Now, are you licensed, Barbara? I mean, what's the...
Licensed as in clinically?
Yes.
So I am a master's level, and I also am a certified recovery peer specialist.
Okay.
Yes.
So go ahead. So you're rising up in the industry, so to speak.
So I had one of my employers said they were going to close the door, and they let 350 people go. And I was one of the 8 that were remaining. And I knew at that time that it was going to be very, very negative consequences on staying there. And I said, I have to do something different. I was working at substance use all night long. So from, the midnight shift till 8 o'clock in the morning. And then going to my day job at 8 o'clock and staying there until 5 o'clock. And so I continued to work my night job, but I took a position on that was a part-time when I had put my resume in for it. And they asked me if I would come on full-time, and they would pay me a larger amount of salary that they were normally paying other people.
And this would be doing what?
I was running a 51-bed homeless facility for men.
Okay.
51 men.
And was that here or
It was in Palm Beach County.
Okay.
So I will tell you, it was for the Lord's place. I went to work there, and I was the administrator of the men's campus in Boynton Beach. And I will tell you that I learned a lot during those times of how to treat people, how to look at men differently and their trauma, recognizing that they were just little boys trying to live an adult life, and they were only coming out of prison for long periods of time.
Right.
And they were only had the tools that they had when they went in. And so we were tasked with, getting them connected to all the services that they needed to be connected to.
Which is a gap that we do not do well in this state and many others, which is the reentry portion.
Correct.
The portion that helps, people forget, yes, I believe in punishment too. I'm, I think it's appropriate, etc. However, once someone has been punished and they're released from county jail or prison, they only have so many tools. And if we are not, someone somewhere isn't there to help, they are going to be back in jail again.
Right.
So the money put towards that help is so well spent. If we can just get people to drink the Kool-Aid and believe in that. But anyway, okay, so you were helping that group in Palm Beach, and fast forward, they ask you to start your own program here?
So actually, I worked there for a number of years, many years, and ran a couple of different programs that was funded by Southeast Florida Behavioral Health Network.
Which is Department of Children and Families,
correct.
Right? Okay.
And so they funded a program that I was running, and with United Way, they were partnering on that funding. And so there were some things that were taking place. I had an individual who was at a local prison who had been Baker Acted and placed into another prison and wasn't allowed to go to that other prison because it was in another county. And so, I immediately said, we need to have somebody go into that prison to be able to help this individual prior to him getting released.
Right.
So on that note, I was offered a position through Southeast Florida to help, put all of this into perspective for the SOAR, which is SSI, SSDI, Outreach, Access, to Recovery.
Okay, and no one listening probably knows what you're talking about.
Correct.
So tell us, what does that mean?
So that is an evidence-based practice where an individual is trained. We have a local lead, which I am the local lead, and I work with individuals who I train and mentor to learn how to, initiate these applications for Social Security. So we partner with Social Security. And it comes out very well because these applications are expedited. And the reason why they're expedited is because they meet all of the criteria that Social Security Administration needs for an individual to meet to be approved for benefits.
Okay, now let me stop you there, because this is currently something I am dealing with. People lose their benefits when they go to jail, don't
Yes, they do.
Okay. And they, for some reason, after they've completed their sentence, done their time, the whole bit, it doesn't automatically reinstate, does it?
No, it does not. And there are documents that we have to have. And so how we get involved with that piece is we know that an individual is going to be released. We go into the jail and we work with them to get all of their information and to sign a document. And we fax that over with their release date. And then once they're released, we just forward over the discharge documents and to Social Security.
Right.
And within 2 weeks, their benefits are reinstated.
Wow. Now, what about Medicare, Medicaid? Or do you...
That comes back on automatically because they all talk to each other.
Okay.
All of those systems
but only
talk.
if the Social
Correct.
Security benefits get... Okay, if that doesn't happen, the Medicare, Medicaid benefits
Right.
are suspended until something...
SOL.
Right. And again, for the life of me, I don't understand, because navigating the Social Security system, Medicare, Medicaid system for an educated, not sober person is difficult.
Correct.
Imagine you've lost everything, you don't have a home, your children are gone, you're just getting out of jail, and now you don't
Right.
even have any. I mean, it's just,
Right.
it's crazy.
So we have a gentleman who we're working with now who is an engineer, and he's raising his 9-year-old daughter alone, and he's never been to prison, he's never done drugs, he doesn't have a mental illness, and we took him on because he's going to be homeless. He's not able to pay his rent or his mortgage or his, to even buy gas for the car. He has stage 4 cancer. esophageal cancer, and he's not capable of doing the work that he had done in the past. So he is going to lose his daughter. He's going to lose his car. He's going to lose his home. He's going to lose his life. And this is all that he has to live for. So we filed benefits for him on a compassionate allowance, which is recognized through Social Security Administration.
What does that mean? I've never heard of that.
So that means that it's expedited. It's a terminal illness. And so it's flagged through Social Security Administration, and we were able to get him benefits turned on in 2 weeks. He would have gotten Medicare, but we got him marketplace insurance through Blue Cross Blue Shield, so that way he would have benefits to cover what was going on with his health. And he's got money right now. So, I mean, it's not just people coming out of jail, it's people who are living outside in a regular, normal life that are not capable of navigating that system on their own.
Right.
And so we did take on a grant recently through United Way where we are allowed to help individuals who don't have a behavioral health need, just in the case of this young man.
Okay, so we're going to run out of time, not even going to be able to talk about what I want, but we will get to that. But so you have a facility now in St. Lucie County, correct?
Yes.
How many beds is it?
So we have 3 locations, and we have one location that is a respite, a peer respite, and it's for people who are in crisis to come in. We have 6 beds. Okay. And so we get them in, we triage them, get them connected to all of their behavioral health needs, whether it's medicated assisted treatment, or maybe they're coming in from detox, so that way we can get them into treatment or move them on into sober living, and we will help them navigate that process. We will, if they need to get connected to mental health, medications, we will refer them out to the community. But we don't just refer them out. We make the call with them, and we take them there, and we sit there with them until they go through that appointment, and then bring them back. So that way
Sometimes is what it takes.
Correct. Yep.
And then the other 2 facilities?
So we have 2 recovery community organizations. Recovery community organizations. And so we have one in Port St. Lucie. The location is 6646 South Federal Highway. It's on the southeast corner of Ketterman Road and US 1 behind the St. Lucie Draft House.
And that is a live-in facility? Or no?
That is an agency. That is a recovery community organization where an individual can come in and be connected to services, or just come in and breathe. They can just come in and breathe. They can relax. They can sit through educational groups, support groups. They can watch a movie. They can have a snack. They can just sit in the AC or the heat and just be there to breathe for the day.
And this is open now. Is there a charge for this? Is there? No, no
fees. We don't charge anybody anything. We're open 7 days a week.
From what time to what time?
So out in Okeechobee, we have another location in Okeechobee.
That's your 3rd location, okay.
And so the hours are basically the same, 8 to 5 every day. We do have nights where we have evening support groups, and so we're open later then. We have support groups on the weekends, and so we're open from 10 to 3 on the weekends.
Okay.
I think we just changed the hours in Okeechobee because we did take on another support group for CODA. Codependence Anonymous meeting.
Okay, okay.
So we have groups
so
you can come to.
So the facility in PSL and Okeechobee are kind of a one-stop. If you're having issues, if you need some help, if you need some direction, if you want to get the phone number of NA or AA, just...
Right.
And what's the phone number?
So I knew you were going to ask me that. So I don't have the phone numbers on me. You can look us up on our website at ritelifeservices.org.
Okay, so that if people need more information, it's ritelifeservices.org.
Yes. Or now you can have my personal cell number is 561-503-1323. If you would please text me and don't call me and leave a voicemail, just text me, because I will be able to get that text message and then work right with you and either get you, connected to me or directed to someone else that's available to help.
Wow. Okay, and you oversee all of these?
Correct.
Okay.
And we have a blast. So I just want to put out there too that we are a peer-led agency. So what that means is all of our staff and all of our board members have lived experience in either substance use or mental illness. And so they believe in our philosophy and our mission, and we are just doing our very best to help people in whatever way necessary.
So what's your philosophy?
So our philosophy is we will meet you where you are. We will meet you where you are, and you determine what it is you need. And once you determine that, we will work with you to help you get what you need.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Now, so we don't run out of time. The thing that interested me, well, we can just talk about this the rest of the time, but I do want to get to Narcan because that was what caught my eye to have you on the show and to talk about that, because I think we've kind of started talking about fentanyl a lot, and which is an opioid as well, but we've kind of, we at one point were talking about Narcan and the benefits and how to get Narcan to help people, et cetera. And I haven't heard about it for a couple of years now. And I'm like, oh my God, we have to tell folks and remind them. So first of all, what is Narcan?
So Narcan is an agent that actually blocks the opioid from going into the brain's receptor.
Okay.
And so if you take an opioid and it attaches to that receptor, and once the Narcan is inserted into the nose or into however the Narcan is distributed,
right,
it will go in and knock that opioid out of the receptor, and then the Narcan will take its place. And that will last like 30 to 90 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes.
And it basically saves lives, correct?
So
when is it used, Barbara?
If you find the signs, if you see somebody experiencing the signs of an overdose, which they're gray and clammy, and you know that they've used an opioid or that they could possibly have used an opioid, their skin is gray and clammy and their lips are gray and they're difficult to breathe, then that is a clear sign to, inject the Narcan into their nose. So,
this is a nasal spray?
Correct. So we are a Narcan distributor and a Narcan trainer. And so if you're interested, again, you can contact me and we will get you into a training. We have 2 trainings a month in each location. One is the first Tuesday of the month and the last Tuesday of the month at Port St. Lucie, and then the last Monday of the month over in Okeechobee.
Okay, and how long is the training?
1 hour.
Okay. Okay, so now, do you get your Narcan free?
We get our Narcan free, and we right now are distributing 200, 300 kits a month, and that's what we're getting from DCF. And so
Wow.
it's just a continued rollover. They are going to provide us 600 each location because we're using so much Narcan right now, giving out so much that, because we're going to businesses and we're handing it out. We're calling people, hey, come and get it. Let me put it in your mailbox. People in the community are, there's so much stigma related to substance use and mental illness to begin with. And so people don't want to come into the office and say, hey, I need a box of Narcan for my grandson, right?
Right.
So text me and let me know, and I will come and put it in your mailbox, and nobody has to know anything.
Okay.
So just let us know that you need it and we'll get it to you.
Okay, so and people who should have it or get it are people who may be exposed to someone who experiences an overdose, and if so, they can utilize it and hopefully save their lives.
Sure. So we're working with a detective now, Detective Corey Hewlings, through the Port St. Lucie Police Department, who is a newly appointed detective that is getting the overdose calls, and we're working with him. And we have one gentleman who, has died a couple of times from overdose. And he is taking his medications. They're medications.
Yeah.
They're medications.
Right.
And so he's dying from that because he forgets how many that he's taking. And so we tried harm reduction.
Oh, okay, let's back up because, in other words, these are prescribed opioids for pain or whatever. And I assume he's older or what?
No, he's not older.
He just
forgets how many he's taken.
And, wow.
And it's very common.
So these aren't people necessarily buying drugs on the streets,
Right.
illegal drugs. These are oftentimes legitimate people, never been in trouble, who get prescribed by physicians drugs and they accidentally overdose.
Correct.
Whoa.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So we've had 2 people in 1 week that fits that description.
Wow.
Now, do we have people who are living outside who are shooting fentanyl, who is dying from overdose and being taken to the emergency room?
Sure.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
But it's not all
Right.
of those.
Right.
Now, what do you say, and we've got just a couple minutes, what do you say to the naysayers that say, well, why are we trying to save their lives when they brought this on themselves?
So, we have systems that we deal with on a daily basis. And I was invited to speak to one of the systems champions. And they had that conversation with me about why would we do this? And I said, because you're saving lives. And they specifically said to me that that's going to go in society's eyes as if we are giving a 12-year-old a condom. And I specifically stated, you should be. Now, did they invite me back a week later?
No.
Yes, they did.
They did.
They invited me back and they said, yes, we will take your Narcan and we will give it out to people and we want them to have it so that they don't die. So I don't know what took place in that week, but a year later, they're now saying, let's take a look at needle exchange programs. And so it's the shift of the philosophy and the culture and ending the stigma and having those open conversations
Right.
about drug use and mental illness and overdose. We've done presentations out into the community. We take part of Trunk or Treat, where the communities
Right.
get together
Right.
for Halloween, and we gave out more Narcan than we did candy. And the kids were screaming, hey, Mom, Dad needs that. They have Narcan over there. Dad needs that. So you're regular people,
Okay, well, believe it or not, we are out of time. And please give us your phone number and the website one last time so people can get help.
Yes. So we have a Facebook page, Rite
Right.
Life Services, Inc.
Okay.
Our website is ritelifeservices.org.
And your phone number.
Is 561-503-1323.
Terrific. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.